What's going on, guys? Aiden Smith, Paint Your Path podcast. I'm here with the great and powerful Joel Mercado.
What's up, my man? How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, bro.
Yeah,
Dude, aren't those Graco hats just phenomenal?
bro, they're fire, dude. Like I'm just like, ugh. It just makes me want to make my own hat. Finally, I've been holding off for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I
sick. I
think
love
I
it.
think having good merch is like such an underrated marketing play, right?
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
why get the cheapest hat? People are gonna rock it. If I don't feel comfortable rocking your shit because it's kind of like,
Yeah,
why even make it, right?
bro. That's what I'm saying. It's a waste of time and money. But dude, this hat is fire. And dude, you still haven't sent me your contact for your hat because that your hat,
Oh
man.
shit.
The new era and the painters coaching. Oh, dude, I still rock that. You know that, right? Like I be rocking yours more than my own.
What did Tanner say? He said, if your hat don't have a sweatband on it or
Yeah,
a
that's
sweat
not your
mark,
boy.
that's not really your man. Yeah,
Facts, dude.
I
Facts.
totally agree, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yo, all right, dude. I have been off for about a week, right?
Yep.
What was I even doing?
You were in Denver, and I wouldn't say off. You
Mm,
reallocated your time.
very
You've
true.
been working, brother. You've been working your tail off.
We both
So
have, right?
yeah.
Yeah, man.
How was
Yes.
it?
So it was freaking amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what's funny is I have a little bit of a Spanish contractor background, right? So like when I first started, literally it was me and Juan and Cruz. That was the
Oh, okay.
entry to the painting business for me. It was like we were painting apartments every day for my father-in-law, who is Spanish as well, and I had to learn how to communicate with them. I seen their culture. They took me to the best food spots. I had to like up my Spanish a little bit to be able to keep up with them. And
Yeah.
hardest working dudes in the room, you know.
Facts.
And I had to keep up. And I got to a certain point where I was like, man, these guys could make a lot of money if they did it for themselves. But for whatever reason, they just wanted to keep doing what they were doing. But I did it
Mhm.
for myself. And then I learned real quick, like, damn, it is hard to do the work and run a business. So
Yeah.
I ran at that challenge. I made a couple pivots in my life, and then all roads led to where I got to. But still, it's like I understand these guys and what their mindset is like. So going out and speaking with them and kind of full circle moment for me is like, damn, there's guys that actually want to make this happen, but they don't feel like they have somebody they can trust to kind of preach game and help them out, you know?
Mm. Man, you're hitting a point right there. They can't trust. What do you think that what is the trust issue in, you think?
You know what, dude? I knew just like from hearing stuff that trust was a big thing in like that culture.
Mm.
Until I talked to them, I didn't realize how big it was though.
Yeah.
They are like you got to prove it to them that like you're in it for them, not you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Cuz they got horror stories of, "Oh, I heard this guy, he spent 10K and nothing happened or you stole his money," like stuff like that. And it's like,
Mm.
"Damn, that's rough, man." And they go through a lot of that cuz they don't have they're not able to communicate as effectively, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
So,
So they got caught pretty much in my eyes. Is like they just went in the wrong place and someone just took advantage of the situation, right?
yeah.
Um, man, it's interesting because what a lot of people don't realize it's I'm seeing a lot of that too, especially the older culture, right? And I say culture because it is a culture. It's a generational culture. It's what's
Mhm.
been taught, and I've been on some discovery calls lately where I've been on some calls with guys that are 50s, 60s, right? And they're like, man, I got to start all over. I had a call with a guy last week. He was like, I don't know, I think he said 30 years in the business. And then when COVID happened, he was doing like $3 million a year and boom, everything shifted
Mhm.
for him. He lost everything. He's starting all over. He's 65 years old now. And he's like, I just need work, man. I'm like, well, what did you do then to get the 3 million? Why did you change again? And it's a common story of what you just said, trust, and then
Mhm.
faith, a lack of faith in self, right? And I think that's important too. So I wanted to hit that
Yeah.
topic a little bit is a lack of faith in self that changes everything, right? So what are your thoughts on that when you're in that room?
Yeah, man. I would say like obviously there's two sides of the coin. They also have to take the action as well, right? And I
Yeah.
think they get caught up into what they know, and that's the work in and out, right? I mean, you get a crew of Spanish guys. I mean, they're gonna bang out anything you need, right? The problem is they don't think like that when it comes to the business side of things. You know,
Mm,
they usually, a lot of them go right into the family business, and they don't get the crash course when it comes to the education, the finances, the systems, and stuff like that. So they're wired just a little bit different, and you gotta like, here's what you're doing that other companies are doing, right? That are the reason why you're having trouble getting jobs, right? You don't know
mm,
what you don't know. And
yeah.
when I laid it out for them and showed them some of the snippets of like, our systems and frameworks and stuff, they were like, I never even thought to do that. You open my eyes so much. And it's like, well, you got to kind of put yourself out there as well and do a little bit of research so you can kind of be open to that kind of stuff.
Mm, I love that.
So, but yeah, I had guys that were in there, like they were giving their own testimony and they were like, man, I've been doing stuff the old way or my way for this long, and it's gotten me to where I am. I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to come here and learn about business so I can actually, start to make a change in my life and business. And I'm like, that's what I want to hear.
I
I
love
remember
it.
one time I got emotional. I was hearing some guy just give me his testimony of how he's done. He wants to be there for his kids. And I was just like, this is what fires me up. And that led me to like go and freaking crush when I present it.
Yeah, yeah. Good, man. Well, that's what it's about, right? It's just being able to show people the way that they didn't see, right? And that's what I love about the
Yeah,
coaching side of things is we can see things before they see it. So that's important.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
But on the other side, right, it's like, cool, you get to a certain point, and I'm talking about everybody now, not just Spanish contractors,
Hmm.
but you get to a certain point, alleviate these pain points, and then I see a lot of guys just stopping,
Mm,
right? Think of it like this. I have the perfect kind of like parallel. You go to school for 12 years most of the time, right?
hmm.
Finish high school. Some people choose to go to college and continue to invest in their education. Some people go to doctorates, right? PhDs. These are a lot of times the smartest guys in the room, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our guys in our space and in construction and whatnot, they learn how to handle their business, alleviate their pain points, finally make some money and get that consistency. And then they stop and they get comfortable.
Mm. Whew. So it's funny you say that. I literally 2 hours ago was doing a coaching call on this a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was saying when I think of this is what a lot of people don't understand about the business side of things is consistency, right? And being able to continue to invest and keep growing the business and keep pushing as far as possible, right? Now, what do I mean by consistency? Imagine yourself going up a hill with a big rock. And I know a lot of people, they go like this. If you guys can visualize me, that if you're watching, they're up at the hill right here. They get
Yep.
excited. So instead of leaving one hand on it still and going, whoo, what a great job we did. We got this. And then use the other hand to push it down the hill to keep that sustainability. What do? They go, yes, we got this. And we let go. And that rock rolls
Mm-hmm.
all over them because they got complacent. They got really used to just feeling like, oh, we started making money. I made
Yeah.
it to the top, right? But they don't realize what it takes to continue to sustain it. It takes more investment financially and mentally, right? So there's a lot of fear behind that. I've not spent so much money in my life until now, which is the craziest part. You would think I stopped.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm spending more money now, which is kind of in my own eyes. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm putting myself in even more uncomfortable rooms
Yeah.
because I know that I'm in a new field that I need to grow into now. And I put myself in a very weird comfort zone, an uncomfort zone for myself, right? And I'm speaking out of just what I'm going through in my stage right now by leaving and doing all the things I'm doing now. I'm entering a new chapter of life. So I'm spending thousands of dollars to extract the amount of knowledge to shorten my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what people don't understand. I have a friend that I just found out the other day. He owns a roofing company in Arizona. I
Mm-hmm.
just found out yesterday he combined forces on an HVAC company with a company that just sold their business. They were doing $95 million in pest control. They sold it. He partnered up with him. He partnered up with like three other partners to launch this HVAC company. And he's like, dude, I'm just going to give you 50%. You guys break that amongst yourselves. I'll keep 51%. He went to like a complete, I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he told me last night, he's like, bro, he's like, I'm going to do $25 million in 3 years. And I was like, what? That's the goal. But then when he told me who's behind him, I was like, well, of course, you have a branding
Right.
force. You have
Mm-hmm.
the people that have already sold their company and exited. You have another guy who's doing 9 figures. Of course, you're going to do 25 million in 3 years. Why would you not? You have the education, you have the financial backing now, and you've already done it. You just did it in a longer time period. Now you're shortening it. You
Mm-hmm.
opened up a new business and you have a powerhouse behind you. How could you fail? In fact, because of that mindset, I think he's going to do more than 25 million in 3 years. That's just the minimum. Isn't that wild? And there's
Mm-hmm.
guys that are listening to us right now that aren't even willing to spend an extra $1,000 in marketing to hire a new PM, or another $2,000 in marketing to hire a sales rep to replace themselves, to guarantee the amount of leads and appointments for their sales rep so they can grow and scale their business. That's wild to me. Think about that. So how
Yeah.
often is that conversation happening with you? And how often are
Dude,
you hearing
more
this?
than more than I'm comfortable with, right?
Hmm.
Like when you're dealing with those big numbers and that opportunity, most people will never see anything like that in their life. Like let's
Yeah.
just call it real.
Yeah.
95 plus 99% of people will never see opportunities like that, but it's because they don't allow themselves to have that opportunity,
Correct.
right? You get stuck and it's like you've mastered how you've done it, how you're doing it, right? Maybe you worked through to get to this point and then you're just like, you stop and now you limit yourself on opportunities going forward, right? You get infatuated with these guys. Oh, he's doing a $10 million, he's doing a $20 million business, right? And you're like, I need to learn from him. And it's like, no, you need to learn yourself that you're not
Mhm.
ready for that right now. You haven't
Yeah.
even attempted to try and get to the next level. So it's just one of those things like you can literally fail 4 or 5, 6 times. And on that seventh time, you got it, right?
100%.
Changes everything just because you were willing to risk it. And look, you lose a little bit of money, you'll get back to where you can master.
Yeah, man.
I mean, dude, you can get back to where you've mastered, right? It's the time to say, look, I haven't just invested all this money, energy, time to get to this point. I want to keep going. You got to make that decision. You'll figure it out like you always have. There's always something you're going to be holding on to, and it's in you to make the decision to finally move past it, right? At first it was the tools. You finally said, all right, I'm going to stop painting. And then it was project management, right? You get a guy in there to actually look over the projects. Then it was sales. Hey, I don't have to do the sales anymore. I'm going to create a system and allow my brand and all the things we've built up to this point do the talking and just have my sales rep take it from here. And then you just keep going, packing on GM, right? I got a guy in my coaching right now, one of our coaches who just literally bought a company, right? Just to absorb him to run his sales department, and he's killing it
Wow. That's
because he
awesome.
wanted to replace himself and continue up that ladder. He's going to go way farther than the guy that's not even willing to entertain things like that or have that conversation, right?
Facts.
And I think it actually speaks to who's in your circle, right? You're in these conversations, you're hearing about these things. That means there's a time where you're going to be brought into some of these conversations because they understand what you bring to the table.
Right.
So, like I said, when you're not giving yourself the chance or even earning the respect of other people to allow them to have you in the conversation, you're hurting yourself, right? You're hurting your future, all the things you worked for, you're going to plateau, unfortunately.
Facts, dude. Dude, I love the fact that you say that because here's the craziest part too, and this is what people don't realize. And I'm already predicting even for you, Aiden, there's going to be doors that open for you, right? Because you have that mindset. You're investing. You're doing all these things, and it's very interesting. What a lot of people don't understand is this, right? The power of the room, dude. I was very uncomfortable on my last episode I did last week with Dan. I was so uncomfortable because the dude's like, hey man, I'm doing this. I'm with Bedros. I'm doing this and that. And he just starts name dropping and he's doing all this stuff. And I was like, shit, I'm
Right.
not near that. Right. And then he's telling me, dude, we're going to connect and this is what you and I should do moving forward. And I was like, wow. Like, I'm telling you, I'm feeling uncomfortable being next to a guy like this, knowing
Yeah.
what he's achieved, how he's achieving. And dude, he's a hustler, man. He was just live right in front of me, just showing me how he's doing things live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is why he's where he's at. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I want to be there, right? And here's the thing about opportunities. I love what you just said. He sent me a message. I want to use this as a live example. He sent me a message on Instagram, said, I'm going to be in California. Let's promote your seminar. I'll hop on a podcast with you. Most people would say, sorry. And this was
Huge.
a week prior, right? They would say, I'm busy, or they'll make up some BS excuse. I
Right.
was like, bet what day and time I will clear my schedule. This is a guy who's a multimillionaire who said, I want to hop on an episode with you, and I'm going to be speaking at your seminar. Let's connect more. Why would I say no to that? Most people would make an excuse because they're fearing what the conversation was, right?
Right.
And he called me out. He's like, hey, I've seen what other episodes you've been on with certain people. They have a bad rap. And I was like, yeah, I respect that. Thank you. But you know what he respected is that I was open to what he had to say.
Mm-hmm.
And he also respected that my response was, I believe what you said, but there's a reason and there was a season on why I was with that person. And he's like, damn, dude, I like that. And I'm like, and there's a reason why you're here today, because if you didn't respect what I'm doing, you wouldn't have been on my podcast and you wouldn't be coming to my seminar, would you? No. So,
True.
but you see how comfortable I was to be able to call that out as well. Now, guys, you have to understand when you're in these rooms, it's super important. And I know we were going a little different direction here. I'm using this as an example. You know, there's certain seasons for certain people in your life. And of course, whether you work with them or resonate with them, you move on and keep moving forward, right? So be in rooms, guys, get in uncomfortable situations. It's the only way you're going to grow. And what Aiden and I have been talking about previous to this is the fact that a lot of people, they get comfortable and complacent. And that's one of the biggest things you want to be careful is the complacency part.
Yeah. Dude, I'll give you the perfect example too, right? Like, um, you're going to get opportunities with individuals, right? Being in the right rooms, of course. But like, here's the thing, you may have opportunities that are ready for you and you're not jumping at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hurting you as well. And then you seek for coaching or these other things and you're like, what's this silver bullet? I need somebody to like explain it to me exactly. And it's like, dude, you can go in and take a chance and figure it out, right? There may be one or two things in the way. Maybe it's the math. You're not 100% sure on the math and the percentages or the commissions, whatever it is. Maybe it's the software or the technical side of things. There are resources you can reach out to help you along the way, right? It's like start falling forward. It doesn't have to be beautiful and pretty, right? It's just like hiring. Oh, I want to make sure that my systems are all set up first and that person is ready to go and has it all laid out perfectly. There's never going to be a time like that. Get over yourself. Same thing when you're transitioning in your company, right? Like so many guys, they get to a point where they finally get to a solid spot where they're profitable. They're doing the sales, project management's in there, admin's in there, everything's going. They're getting calls. It's like the universe is asking for them to grow. They're like, hey, we're
Yes.
doing this. And then they just stop. They don't want to hire a sales rep. They don't want to spend a little bit more on marketing, like you said. And it's like, I don't understand that, right? You got stuck in that position before because you were complacent. If you're not growing, you're dying. You have to start taking the next step. There's enough. I think we've proved it that there's enough work out there. We got guys scaling left and right, multi millions. Private investors, all these people wouldn't be getting into this game if there wasn't money to be made and jobs to be done. Why are you
Mm,
stopping?
facts. Facts, dude. I love that you say that because here's the thing. You had mentioned that you're doing the same thing.
Doing
Notice
the
what you
same thing.
said, like getting back in the position or staying in position, right? Well, what's the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again, trying to expect a different result. Like, in order for you to scale and keep moving forward is by making these decisions and investing in people, right?
Yeah.
And empowering them for you to scale your business. So I couldn't agree more with you, brother.
Yeah. And literally just did this with like my coaching, right? It was like we had an influx of people coming in. Obviously, we brought on coaches to help out, but it was like I didn't have the perfect system in the world to get everybody like communicated on board it, where they're at in the cycle, all that kind of stuff. I had to call in people that I knew that were good at that, that knew better than me,
Yeah.
even though I'm a techie guy, right? And I have like confidence in that. I couldn't imagine somebody going through that like really didn't know tech, what they would have done. They would have folded under the pressure, not using the
Yeah.
resources, not reaching out to the people that said, hey, I'll help you if you need it, right? It's like there's always people around that know a little bit more than you that you can ask to for advice. Obviously, not going above and beyond. You want to respect them and all that. But,
Right.
dude, that's why we're here. That's why other people are there so they can help you out in these pivotal moments in your business, you know? So
100%.
if you're not, comfortable giving away the sales role in your business, hey Joel, what is the commission structure just roughly? Or like, hey, this person, what do you guys do roughly, for like the payouts and how does that work, right? Those little questions you can get answered to quickly. ChatGPT can help you tomorrow,
Hmm.
right? Right now, I can have a whole comp plan ready to go right now based on my situation from ChatGPT. And it'll outline all the math, what it'll do to my top line, how I can support them and train them, all by a click of a button. There are too many
Yeah.
resources out there for you to be stuck trying to transition in your business.
Well, I love that you say stuck, right? And are you cool if I go over a quick mindset hack?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I want you to think of, do you have a Mac computer at all?
Yes.
Is there ever a time that your mouse goes like this when it's loading?
Oh yeah.
So it's called the flywheel, right? And our brain, when it's stuck, it's because we're still loading, we're overthinking, we're overcompensating, and we're overwhelming our minds versus doing something simple. Look what you just said. Just go to ChatGPT, prompt it, it'll give you an answer in 5 minutes, not even in less than 5 minutes. Reach out to Aiden and Joel through this like DMs or Facebook. Hey, what's your thoughts on this? Boom, answer, right?
Mhm.
Like it's what's happening is we're overwhelming our minds on purpose and not on purpose. What does that mean? On purpose because we want to figure it out on our own. That is just
Yeah.
human nature. But there's people out there with resources that help you out. And I'm not like pushing coaching, by the way. I'm literally saying like you can go literally hit up anyone in our network and just be like, yo, dude, how do you process? I see it all the time on Facebook groups. What are your thoughts on this? But there's a thing that I think that happens with most guys that are listening and ladies too, is that we fear asking the questions because we fear that we don't look like we know what we're talking about. Who cares about that?
Mm.
Right? Get the information you need to get and then execute because you're actually harming your family and the families
Yeah.
that you chose to be responsible for as a leader, which is your painters and everybody else that are involved. So, I would say off of that is get unstuck by asking more questions and don't think you need to know everything. I still don't know everything. I still reach out to people. Like, shit, there's times I reach out to you, dude, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm doing this with the coaching. What are your thoughts? Or how can you, like, I don't know what to do with this one thing on the tech side or whatever. And you even help me out with like a BSL idea. Like, guys, you have to understand, utilize your people and be confident in your group of people because they're going to guide you the best way they can. And that's what we're here for,
Yeah.
right? That's why it's called community. So I love that.
You know what also I heard recently? Somebody was like, and people need this, right? So going back to the circle thing, I love that topic of like, when you have people in your circle, you need to be able to trust them, right?
Hmm.
And I hope that if you're listening, you have at least one or two guys that you could like confide in, right? Hey, here's what I'm kind of going through. Maybe you're not the guy, but let's just bounce some ideas, right? And I know you're not coming at it from like an alternate motive, right? And I
Yep.
seen a video. It was like, if you have something that happens good in your life, right? And you reach out to one of those people and you let them know, seeking that like, damn, look what I just did, or look what just happened. And they're truthfully happy for you. No motive, no underlying pressure, no, oh, but what about this? That is the one of the best people you can have in your life. Ain't that crazy to think?
100%. Is wild, dude. What people don't realize is even what we've done behind the scenes. What we do on our chat, right? We're constantly feeding our wins together, aren't we? And we're always like,
Yeah.
dude, great job. Keep pushing, keep doing, keep going. Like and helping each other out. That's the most important part to have your group, your people, you know?
It's crazy because like when you're going through something as hard as entrepreneurship, right? Like we have massive respect for all business owners in general, not just painting.
Yes.
When you do that, you go into the unknown, you go through things that challenge you, right? On a level that no job can give you any, experience doing, right? It's like they
Hmm.
have like imagine a bowling lane When you're going in 9 to 5 corporate, they got the bumpers up, right? When you're an entrepreneur, those are down. If you take a swing or you know try and throw that ball, it might go in the gutter, right? And that's just the reality of it. We got to live with that. The problem is people stop taking chances, right? And it's like, dude,
Mm,
leverage your people, get that confidence, and whatever you think that is going to get you past, even if it's not perfect, that hump, you have to take it. You have to do it. Like, I don't know. This whole episode has just been like, take a chance. Take a chance. You have people around you that are going to help you out. You have for YouTube University, like all these things can help you. I just need you to not worry about losing money, right? Unless it's like bankrupt right away. But even you said, right, like before, you go bankrupt. That's why they have a law that you reset because it rewards it in a way, right?
yeah, yeah.
But like, stop being afraid of holding on to the money you've accrued by taking chances, right? There's a reason you're there. And I always tell people like America rewards balls, right? The guys that are at
Hmm.
the top 50 million, $100 million companies, they are rewarded by capitalism, which rewards balls. And you've heard it so many times. I failed. I was at zero, ground zero, and then I made 100 million, right? It's like, take those and make it
100%.
your own story.
Yeah. Dude, here's the craziest part is like I've even been in rooms with guys that have made so much money and they were like, dude, I still get lawsuits, I still get this, I still like
Yeah.
I want to get rid of that thought process that anyone thinks they're gonna be what I would say exempt of those issues. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
happen at the highest level, lowest level, medium level. It doesn't matter. There's lawsuits that still will happen. There's things that still will come up as an expense that was unexpected, labor laws, whatever's about to come,
Yeah.
it still will come. And there's just ways that you get to choose how you want to handle it, right? I think I'd rather handle it with more finances and being able to be like, oh, I can handle that situation when it came up because it's not a problem, right? And as an entrepreneur, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be a challenge. The question is how much of the challenge do you choose? I rather
Yeah.
choose the challenge being at the highest level that I can achieve every single day because it just becomes easier with those challenges. That's how I view it.
I want to ask a quick question on like
Hmm.
the psychological side. There is another perspective of like people start to hold on to things, right?
Hmm.
Um, and maybe it's like closure for them, right? Like I know guys that do the sales because they genuinely love it. And they're like, dude, that makes me happy, right? That gives me that I'm on a straight line dopamine. Every sale I hit, it's like cool, I'm validated, right? Like, could you speak a little bit to that? Maybe somebody feels that way in their business, like,
Yeah.
man, every sale I go on, it makes or breaks me. But that adrenaline rush is what I love and what keeps me going.
That is a danger zone for me. Which what happens is they're getting a hit of dopamine fix every time they sell. They're also doing the opposite effect every time they don't sell. And I hear this a lot actually. It's a common thing. Um, there's another way of getting that same feeling without selling, which is rewarding and coaching and leading your people while they win, you win. So you can almost replace that with other people
Mm-hmm.
if you are going to stay in that same mind frame. So I would prefer to see my sales team win and get that little dopamine hit of like, hey, boss, I hit $40,000 for the first time ever in 1 week. What? Let's go. Right.
Yeah.
You can duplicate it that way. But the psychology is you don't want to anchor your feelings towards that. You want to anchor your feelings towards other ways of progression, which could be
Yeah.
just seeing the business moving forward, seeing people win in a leadership role, meaning that you're not identifying sales as always the win. You're identifying the growth always a win, meaning for people. So that could be someone
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I was able to afford my daughter's college fund this week because of this." Oh, wow, that's amazing, right? Like those is where you
Mm-hmm.
start to trick your mind a little bit and start seeing it in those ways because
Yeah.
it's the same exact thing. It's a reward system you created. So what I do is I help sales guys with that and I tell them you need to create your success morning routine. That way you already got that dopamine fix essentially by doing the right
Yeah.
thing in the morning for you. So no matter what happens during the day, it doesn't dictate your mood.
And that's what helps you self regulate. So I call it PWs, your personal wins. What are some personal wins you can create in the morning? That way you don't have to rely on the sales. Because if you rely on the sales and it's not there, all these things become overwhelming. And then now you all of a sudden you start to make poor decisions in the business and you start getting hit in all different angles. I was there too, man. I lived like that for years until I started really fully going into the leadership role, and that's where a
Yeah.
lot of things shifted for me.
Yeah, I think we even seen that be covered with Nick Slavic in his talk, right? Where he's like, dude, I
Hmm.
do my meetings in a social setting, right? So it's not like so hard on people. And it doesn't feel like,
Yes.
oh, if they're not doing well, that like all that where they're getting their, hype and happiness from that win doesn't feel like the end of the world as well, you know? And it
Yes.
keeps them more
Yes.
level. And it's like, hey, it's more of a chill environment right now. We're going through things, of course. We're going to hold you accountable, but like, you don't have to feel like we're in a room, four walls, me and you, and here's what you're doing wrong, right? Or
Yes.
here's what you're doing right, great. So that is interesting, right? Because painting contractors, they're not the biggest managers by trade, by nature. They're still trying to manage
Hmm.
themselves, right? But when
Yep.
we look at it through that lens of like you said, having that regulating factor, or like make sure you highlight the personal wins. When I was in corporate, that was like the main thing. You open up a meeting. Hey, let's go around table. Let's share some wins, guys. Right, just to kind of get the blood flowing. Let's pump things up. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I
interesting how
love it.
that all kind of ties back together. You know,
Yeah, it's
there's
it's what they call interception, right? Introspection, which is when one can change one's mood and still get to the goal, right? Because when
yeah.
you regulate yourself towards one thing, then it just starts to become so dominant that everything else falls apart. So that's a big deal.
Mm. Dude, what about the biggest dopamine hit you can get, in my opinion? And that's your drip jobs accepted proposal. With
Honestly,
that
man,
fire
I'm not gonna
emoji,
lie with you.
right?
Moment it pops up on your email, you're like, yeah. And it's like
Dude,
three
they
times
cooked
in a
with that.
day. Man, it's amazing. Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
they really doubled down on the gamification, right? When it comes to
Yeah.
sales. I mean, dude, sending your drip jobs metrics has become like the number one, like, I did this shit. I'm really doing this shit, right? Like, it's like the validator of all validators, right?
100%. And I always love that too. I'll open up the community and be like, all right, guys, you know what time it is? Let's see some W's, and everyone starts screenshotting their drip job
Right.
metrics. This
I
is where
think
we're at. This is where we're going.
you're doing like a sales, what is it? What are you doing right now with your group?
Yeah, so I did
Competition.
it's a 30-day, yeah, it's a 30-day challenge. Um because I saw a struggle with one of my clients, and because of that one client, I said, why not help everyone at the same time?
Yeah.
So I created a 30-day sales challenge. So every day for the next 4 weeks, which we're in week 2 now, we're last week we went over 5 objection handles. So I created 5 objection handles for all 5. So price,
Mhm.
objection, spouse, timeline, multiple quotes, and I need to think about it. It's what I truly
Mhm.
believe we go through the most in home services for painting. And this week, we're now going over how to thoroughly go over a walkthrough and asking the right questions. So I did that on purpose because I wanted them to see what it looks like to prime your sales team up every single day. Because when I was still running my company, it was this is what we do every day. Like we didn't just meet once, we met every day on sales. So I could prime their minds, get them ready for the war. That's what I called it, right? Like we're getting for war. Like this is war, right?
Yeah.
We got 5 estimates today. This is war. How do we prepare for it? Let's overcome objections. Let's make you feel uncomfortable. Let's get that out of your way so your mind's warmed up. So when you actually go to your first actual estimate, you're ready. And that was the whole
Mm.
premise of the 30-day challenge right now. So I'm already seeing
You're
wins,
doing pretty
man.
good. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm in the
dude.
chat. I'm like 20K, 9K. He's closing at 50%. I'm like, God damn, these guys are snapping right
Dude,
now.
here's the crazy part. One of my clients has been struggling for the whole year. He keeps saying, I don't believe I'm a good sales rep. I don't believe I'm a good sales rep. Last week, guess what he ends up at? 67% closing ratio. And I was like, what shifted?
Wow.
He's like, I literally, for the last like month or two, I was like, we're not talking production, we're not talking office, we're not talking marketing, we're not talking about anything but sales. I don't want you to talk, don't even come on a call until I see you consistently hit goal 4 weeks in a row. Then we can talk about all these other things. Because I was really trying to get to know him a little bit a while for last
Yeah.
year, right? I was like, let me see where his head's at. What's his performance like? So he kept saying, I don't think I'm a good sales rep. Let me hire a sales rep. Hired a sales rep, failed miserably at it. And then what do we do? The last 4 weeks, I'm like, you call me and text me every day on all your sales. Like, I'm going to hold you that high to accountability. I want to see every time you close a deal, you better text me. So psychologically, what I did was I made
Wow.
it so that he could see it every day because he was ignoring the biggest fear, which is I can't sell. Well, now I'm proving to him, I'm like, dude, you sell a job every day. What are you talking about, bro? And
Right.
we just
Hmm.
talked right before this call, and it was 67%, his best closing ratio ever.
That's
I'm like,
incredible.
dude, look, consistency, baby. That's all it was. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, and just
super
being so
excited.
dialed in on one thing and knowing that you're gonna have that feedback. So you better be on overdrive and preparation.
100%.
I love that,
100%.
dude. When you get good at sales, bro, I mean, it's not only is it the number one like leverage point in your business, but like you start to see things in slow mo, right? In a weird way.
Yes.
You start
Yes.
to not worry so much about the scripts and the words because you got that mastered down, and you start to look at body language, cues. Oh,
Hmm.
she's biting her nails. Oh, he's kind of got like it's on her decision, right? And you start seeing kind of the relationship how they're if you're worried about just the scripts or just the, format of your sales appointment, you're already behind the eight ball because you're missing out on things that are crucial to the sale, right?
Correct.
Like today,
Correct.
literally, I went on an estimate today and she's like, hey, we actually the neighbor wants a quote too. So I went over and she's super, super friendly, right? We're kind of like going back and forth. She's like, oh, I'm going to have to owe you $1 million. I'm like, oh, 2 million, we're going back and forth. And then the neighbor, he comes out and he's like, hey, Josh, nice to meet you. Like, so straight to the point. And I'm like, all right, cool. Different sale, right? Different way I got to approach this guy,
Yeah.
go through the motions, right? He's going to want to know I'm on my P's and Q's. So I was on it, boom. And I got two, didn't land them, but I got 2 for 1, like, knocked 2 estimates out right back to back. And one's 20K, one's 10K. And I just felt like, damn, I can see things now in a different way that I used to not be able to at all. Right.
Yeah.
Like I used to just worry about what I'm gonna say next. How do I deal in whatever they're gonna give me objection wise and get rattled? Now I'm understanding personalities, how they're looking at me, just like these subtle things that it happens over time, but it happens with practice, right?
Yes. Yes. I love that you say that because that is the whole premise of what we teach, right? Is the art of communication. It's not
Yeah.
sales, it's communication. And when you get really good at communicating in sales, you get really good at communicating with your teams, you get really good at communicating with your spouses and everybody else. This is a skill set that levels you up in all aspects of life. So I love the
All
fact that you said
aspects.
that because it's going to affect everything. Promise you that.
Yeah. Dude, think about it like this too. When let's just say Spanish contractors bringing it all
Mhm.
back, if they don't feel like their communication is at a level that they can have success, they're not going to invest in coaching. They're not going to invest in a program or a business or anything like that. They know
Yeah.
that they are struggling with something, and until they get through that, nothing else really matters. And you can't blame them for thinking that way, right?
No,
Because
not at
they've
all.
probably seen it affect them time and time again. So it's like, unless they know that you have their best interests in mind and you're going to do it based on what they feel their weakness is, doesn't matter what you do, what systems you give them, numbers, whatever it is, they have to get through a certain bottleneck, right? So it's the same thing with
Facts.
sales, right? Like until you are dialed in with your framework and your script and whatnot, it's going to be hard to get past that threshold, right? That sales goal,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
100%. And it's the if the customer can see you're not confident, the customer won't be confident in buying a unit,
Done.
right? It's just that simple. So it's important that you can show the confidence as well and be able to just be ready all the time. And that's what's important about practicing role playing. But also, like you're saying, if you're working with that type of culture as well, and they're seeing nothing but issues, how do you separate yourself to show them that they can trust you, right? And it's by literally in a physical action, right? Hey, this is what I've done. This is
Yep.
how my business looks, and this is how I built it. Whether you want it or not, I know what I can do and what I can provide. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm like I'm looking at like what we've been doing too, and I feel like it's been a lot of sales related stuff as well. I don't know if we're just getting them ready for the busy season or just wanting to hit the ground running, but like I feel like on the back end we're gonna switch to production more as they start to run into
Yeah,
humps, you know?
it's exactly what's going to happen. Is they're going to get too busy because they oversold, and then they're going to have a fulfillment issue, and then we're talking production. I think it's a season
Right.
thing. Like it's funny that you mentioned that. I think it's building confidence that they're getting out of this slower season because of what they did and didn't do last season to prepare them. And
Yeah.
I think if we can continue doing that, then we will talk production and prepare them for this next winter season. So, yeah, I agree with you.
That's
We're
why
aligned
there's
with
never a
that.
best time to hire at
Jeez,
the end of the day.
couldn't agree more, brother. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, man. What else you got that's new, brother?
Honestly, man,
Seminar?
just still, yeah, we're still pushing the seminar. And this is a great topic today, right? Making decisions quicker.
Yeah.
Like people are asking me holding on tickets for them, and I'm gonna go, but can you hold tickets? It's like, listen, guys, it's first come first serve. Like I can't just hold tickets, right? But the those that bought tickets, I have 5 CEO tickets left, and what's included with the CEO real fast is a dinner with us, me, Dan Sikowski, and Charlie Rocket. We're gonna have 4 hours worth of a dinner, so it's almost like a network group in itself. They're both committed to be there for 4 hours Friday night. Saturday and Sunday, I'm going over my playbook of 5 pillars of excellence, which is mindset first, office, sales, production, and leadership. I'm literally building a playbook to take away so you guys can run with your business. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm
That's
excited.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's gonna
freaking
be
game.
different.
Love
So
it, brother.
come see
Well,
me.
we're
Yeah,
yeah. If you guys are interested, we'll put the link in the description in this description.
appreciate it,
We'll
brother.
make sure.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate
Cool.
it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we are gonna wrap this one up. You got any quotes for us, Mr. Joel?
I don't, but I want to give a shout out again to Drip Jobs, obviously. So what's our code
Yeah, man.
if they want to get?
It is PATH 60, Path 60. 60-day free trial for our sponsor, Drip Jobs, all-in-one CRM for painting business owners. They're getting into gutters as well. Gutters,
Ooh,
anything that's
nice.
like home service, they can pretty much take care of. So,
100%. Guys, you heard it here on Paint Your Path Pod. Get yourself 60 days for free. And Aiden, as always, brother, I feel blessed to have you as a co-host with me here, and let's keep rocking, dog.
yeah, man, a lot of guests coming up in the next few episodes. We're going to have some heavy hitters, so keep an eye out for that. We'll see you guys in the
Stay
next one.
tuned. All right, peace.